But we are live here on my podcast, Beyond Balance, which I'm really excited about to have Miss Hallie Avolio on with me today.
Perfect.
She's going to talk. I was like, make sure you say this right. And I'm so happy that I got it right. But here's the deal. Hallie and I connected on social media, and we were just talking before we went live about how cool it is that you can find your tribe on social media. You can find people that are like-minded. You can find people that are just like you. Me coming from a small town, it has been really difficult to find people that have big vision, right? Like really big vision. And maybe there's a handful of those people, but I've been able to find hundreds, if not thousands of them on social media. And one of the things that we are going to base this chat on today, which I'm so excited, is living a fuck yeah life. And she asked me, Hallie, thank you so much for being so respectful. You're like, can I use the F word on your podcast? And I'm like, yeah, dude, of course. Because here's the thing. It's part of our vocabulary. And I said to you as well, right before we started, I said, my husband and I live by that life. We live by those words that if we want to do something, if something comes up and there's an opportunity to do, if it is not a fuck yeah, we don't do it. And that has changed everything and allowed us to be in more alignment. So Hallie, would you take a few minutes to introduce yourself and give people a little background on who you are and what brought you down this path?
Fuck yes.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here, Christina. Thank you for having me. And thank you for reaching out. I think Instagram is what officially brought us together via the universe. And that feels really yummy and good and exciting. And I'm just grateful to get to know you better and know your community and your audience and, offer something that gets them thinking like, how do I create more magic in my life? So, I don't need to go into the whole journey of my life, but I'll leave it at, I grew up with a mindset of you have to live this really kind of checkbox lifestyle, as in there were certain things, requirements, experiences you were meant to have, you were supposed to have, you were supposed to follow this rule book, so to speak. And it left me feeling very misaligned, regretful, frustrated, angry, and anything but magic, anything but fuck yes. And when I finally realized that there was another way, that I could actually create life by my rules instead of having to follow other people's rules and get myself into trouble because I felt as though I had to sneak around them or go, rogue in order to live a life that felt satisfying to me. And that got me into all sorts of trouble in my marriage and with my children and with my health. And that wasn't the way I wanted to live my life either. I didn't want to live my life self-sabotaging. I wanted to live my life in a way that felt authentic, that felt good. But what I found is that I'd never given myself permission to even ask those questions, as in, okay, Hallie, what does that look like? What does it mean to live authentically? What does it mean to wake up every morning and say, fuck yes, this is my life? What does it mean to understand what your purpose is? And so by, getting into a place, first of all, of massive self-destruction, which literally almost took me down. And I had to make a choice. At that point, I had to make a choice. This was a few years ago. And I had to say, which way am I going? Am I going to truly self-destruct and just let everything go? Or am I here for something greater? And I decided that I'm here for something greater. I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm going to figure out who I am, what I want, and what my purpose is, which are three massive questions that I ask myself continuously and ask my clients. And I'm going to teach others, because this is my purpose, is to teach others how to step into this expansiveness, how to step into this power, how to step into yourself so that you can live a life that when you wake up in the morning, you say, this is my life, even on your most mundane days. And that's what I'm here for.
I freaking love it. And here's the deal, a lot of the times we don't realize where these thoughts come from, these people-pleasing thoughts, right? Like we have no idea. And it comes from generations before us of expectations that were set. And I remember, it's so funny, before I got a dog, like my very first dog, I read 3 dog training books. Before I had a kid, I read 1 book and it was called The Conscious Parent. And it made me realize that it wasn't my job to impress upon my child what I thought they should or shouldn't do. It was my job to support who they are and who they are becoming. And that impacted me so wholly to my soul that it made me start to shift the way that I was thinking. Because I was like, wait a second. I didn't have that support. I didn't have those things. I didn't have my parents behind me going like, you can do anything in the world. Here you go. You just work hard enough and you get there. I had my parents have me playing safe. And I understand why now, because of course they didn't want to have to worry about me. They wanted me to be safe. They wanted me to have a great life and they wanted me to be taken care of. Right. But that wasn't authentically who I was. Inside of me was screaming out loud, I want to be more. I want to make an impact. I want to help people. I want to be bigger than life. And I could feel it inside of me, but it was always, Christina, be quiet. Christina, tone it down. Christina, like, you're too much. Like, you're so loud. Like, shh, you know? And it was always quieted. And now I don't say that because I have any negative stigma towards parenting and whatnot. That's just what the generations were before. They cared a lot about what other people thought, and they didn't put into place what their purpose was, or what they were aligned to do. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's like a foreign thing for people, you know, like, oh, I kind of like this. I kind of like that. I should do this because I'm good at it. But like finding your purpose and really sitting in that and realizing that that purpose evolves, and it's not just one thing, it becomes more. And the longer you go down the path of self-discovery, the happier and more in alignment you are. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And that brings me to a memory of a conversation I had with my now husband. I think we were dating at the time. So this was, you know, over 20 years ago. And I remember we were driving in the car and we were just running some errands or something. And he just, you know, drops this question on me. What are your passions? What are you passionate about? And I remember feeling frozen in the passenger seat of the car, deer in headlights. Oh my gosh, I don't know. What's the right answer? What's the right answer? Scanning my brain real quick. What does he want me to say? What is the right answer? What are my passions? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Right. And going down this laundry list, because I had been so stuck in always feeling like I had to know the answer, always thinking that I had to follow a path, right? As in, if he was to ask me in that moment, what are my passions? I should have a ready answer. I didn't have a ready answer, but the reason I didn't have a ready answer is because I hadn't given myself permission to even dive in to that space of discovery. And I love that word, that curiosity, that discovery, because to me, it's the idea that within ourselves, and I picture it like, you know, like the movie Aladdin, and he goes into the Cave of Wonders. So yes. I picture that like the Cave of Wonders without, you know, the evil part of it. But, you know, within each of us, we have this Cave of Wonders. We have so much to discover about ourselves, so much to get curious about. And of course your purpose evolves, right? I am now in my, you know, early 40s. I have 3 children, 2 teenagers, an 8-year-old. My purpose is very different than it was when I was in my early 20s. Very different. And that's beautiful. And now I know that I can ask myself the questions. And if there's discomfort, I can sit in it. I don't like to sit in it necessarily, but I can sit in it, and I can give myself permission to say, let me kind of feel around in here. Let me kind of peel back some layers. Let me kind of get into the heart of what is calling to me. And the more that you can sit with those questions with no expectation of an answer, the more that you allow your higher self to reveal what sparks your purpose.
Yeah. And you know, what's really interesting is that often as mothers, we don't have the space, we don't create the space or time to sit in silence, because people always need us, right? They always need something, or a business needs us, or a partner needs us. And we don't ever take that time to just be quiet and think and process and let our intuition guide us, because usually we're filled with busy work. There's always work to be done as a mom, you know that, especially with 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
And so we're often put in this position that, like, for me to put 20 minutes aside to meditate, it took me almost 5 years to be able to put that time aside and not feel guilty about it, that I was doing, quote, like doing nothing in that time where I should have been working on this or doing this, right? And so when we start to recognize that it's only in those quiet moments by ourselves that we can discover who we really are and what we want, that became a much bigger priority to me. Because really, if you start doing things based on what others expect of you or what others want, or the society around you starts to shape that without you being in control of it, it's an empty success. It's an empty feeling. It doesn't bring you joy in your daily life, right? So, you know, when we talk about finding your purpose, how do you take that purpose that you're like, hey, I really love this. This is, I really want to help people, or I really want to impact people, or I really want to do something significant with my life. How do we take that and put that into alignment, into a life that, like you said, like maybe didn't fit that before, you know, when you come crashing down and you like hit rock bottom, you're like, I can't do this anymore. So where does it work to fit in and create alignment for that? Like, how do we do that?
So one of the tools that I work with myself and with my clients, and I find to be really, really valuable, is looking at your core values. And one of the, here's the distinction on core values versus values. And there's a lot of different exercises that are offered out there. And I'll share with you mine if it's helpful for anybody listening. But I want to distinguish that core values are the 3 to 5 kind of top tier. These are your guiding principles. This is your North Star. And your other values all tree up into these core values. And the core values are your alignment. These are how you know how to guide yourself, how to say, is this a fuck yes, or is this a no, right? Is this person somebody that fulfills me, makes me feel good, feels in alignment with me, or are they a distraction? Or are they somebody that brings me down into a place where I don't want to go any longer? But most of us haven't taken the time to identify what our core values are. And if you don't know what your core values are, it's kind of like, you know, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that it'll stick. And you just don't know if it's going to, because you don't have guiding principles. And with core values, people ask me frequently, do they change? And I say they can change, but generally speaking, your core values are your core values. You may have one or two that kind of shifts priority, or maybe kind of evolves into something a little more expansive. But generally speaking, your core values are going to remain the same. And then your purpose might evolve and help shape, you know, who you become as you evolve into this higher version of self, this more aligned, true, authentic version of who you are. And so that's one of the best tools that I can offer with the core values. And I do have a resource on my website if anybody wants to check it out. It's a free resource. You can grab it. It's called the Ultimate Manifestation Guide. And my core values exercise is the first one on there. So if anybody wants to grab that from my website, feel free. But I believe that once you've identified that, that gives you the roadmap, because we need that roadmap, right? We are humans. We might be spiritual beings. We may not have much connection with our spiritual side, but we are human beings, and we have to navigate both this higher consciousness and also living in a practical human body. And how do we master the two? You know, we need guidelines.
Yeah. And so this is something that I want to dive in on real quick. So we hear the word manifestation all the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. I manifest this, I manifest that. And you did a really great job of kind of bringing it together, that there's like this quantum consciousness versus reality in what we do. And I think so many people think, okay, I'm going to manifest the life. I'm praying, I'm wanting, I'm wishing for this life. And they take the time, but maybe they don't understand that part of manifestation is taking massive action towards what you want, right? It's not like, yes, part of it is sitting there and visualizing who you're becoming and the highest version of yourself. But the other part of it is taking a lot of action towards becoming that human, doing the work to become that human, right? And having gratitude for the journey along the way, because it's messy. It's not perfect. Right? Like so many people like, oh, I'm going to manifest this beautiful life. And it's just like, yeah, as soon as I walk through the trauma of the past and heal that, and then we walk through the next layer and heal that. Right. And so do you want to talk a little bit about like what manifesting means to you?
Yeah. And I love that. I love that distinction. Right. And you can't just sit there and pray for it. Right. And the action, here's how I describe it. I say the kind of the formula for success when it comes to manifestation is setting the intention and having gratitude. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help lead you to that place of manifesting your desires, but you have to embody it. And that's a big part of this inspired action, this aligned action. So as an example, let's just go back to this idea of core values, right? If you are trying to manifest something in your life, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's success in your business, maybe it's a really beautiful and powerful relationship with a partner that sees you for exactly who you are. These are kind of common themes that I see with a lot of my clients. So if you are manifesting that, and you're trying to visualize what that looks like, but ultimately you don't really know who you are at your core, then you're going to have a much harder time understanding what it is that you will feel like when you have, that success in business, that beautiful relationship, that more aligned sense of self, right? So an inspired action that you could take is, for example, determining what your core values are. So once you take this action and you identify, okay, these are my 3 core values, then the continued action on that is bringing awareness to them every single day. Write them down in your journal. Put them as a note in your phone so you can look at them. Maybe they go as an alarm that comes every morning at 8 a.m. so that you see it on your phone. You're like, oh yeah, those are my core values, right? So this is the way that you take an action right now in this moment. And to take that a step further, to really kind of drive home the manifestation is you have to feel it right now. What you are manifesting, you have to embody it right now in this moment ahead of the future event. So using the example of, success in your business, maybe you see yourself bringing in, 5-figure months consistently. And that's something that feels really, really good to you. Great. So visualize what that amount of money looks like, right? See what that looks like in your business. And how do you feel that right now in your body? What does that feel like? Does it feel exciting? For me, it feels warm. It feels expansive. I feel it in both my solar plexus, which is kind of like that area in your belly, underneath around your rib cage, also in my heart space, because I'm of service to other people. And so for me, that feels like warmth. It literally feels like an expansion in my being, in my chest and in my belly. And it feels like tingly, like magical, tingly, really good feelings. So when I'm visualizing that and I'm feeling that energy, and now I'm saying, okay, cool. That feels so good. Now I'm going to go write that post. Now I'm going to go take that action. I'm going to write that post. I've got my core values. I know that one of my core values is being authentic. And another one is love. So when I'm writing that post, I'm really tapping into my authentic words, my sense of love. I'm feeling that beautiful energy within my being. I'm writing out this beautiful post. It just feels good. It's just pouring from my heart because it's aligned with who I am. I'm putting it out there on social media, and it's attracting the people that are meant to be drawn to it, right? So that's the intention, the action, the gratitude, right? I'm grateful for that moment, for that opportunity, and I've taken the action. So now I can leave the rest of the universe to help create that dream, that vision to become the reality.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you share that, because energy is contagious. And when you are intentional with your energy, magic does happen. Like the right people come into your life, and we say it's a coincidence, but it's not. You've called them in.
Right.
And having that intention in a world right now that is so easily offended by everything, your intention really does matter, right? Because when you start to think about not only what is my mission to put out there, but how am I going to be received in that?
Mm-hmm.
And you're intentional about putting out how you want to be received, everything shifts. The other thing that you mentioned was almost like reverse engineering what you want, right? When you sit down and you write down your core values, one of the things that I used to do, because my husband and I have a really great relationship, and a lot of people always ask me, like, how did you find him? And I just said, I accepted nothing less. I got to the point in my life that I went on a lot of dates, and I just accepted nothing less. And I literally wrote down everything I wanted in a partner, everything. And 2 years later, when I found him, everything but dark hair, he's blonde, right? And I was like, that's something I'm willing to sacrifice. Right. No big deal, right? But he came because I was intentional with my actions. And so I would always say to girls, write down this list, everything you want. Here's the top 10 non-negotiables that you want. Here are the top 10 deal breakers, right? So if they don't have all 10 of these, you're out. If they have any of these 10, you're out. Right? And so really being intentional and expecting more for yourself, because I believe in relationship status, that who you are dating is a direct reflection of how much you love yourself.
Oh,
right?
100%.
The relationship that you have,
absolutely.
Right.
Right.
And so that works in business too, is that if you want to do the 5-figure a month thing, having the intention to do so, feeling as if you can, because I remember the first time I started making 5 figures a month, and I was just like, I felt unworthy because of my money mindset, because of the pre-programming to everything, because in my upbringing, I was taught to believe that rich, quote, rich people had to screw poor people to get to where they are.
Sure.
right? They were
Sure.
bad, they were negative, they, and they're portrayed that way in Hollywood a lot of the
Oh,
time
yeah.
too, right? And so I always thought that. And then I felt unworthy, even though I was of service and I was helping people, I felt unworthy of that money. And so you'll never call that in again if you don't fix the bottom line and actually sit with yourself and realize, okay, we got to heal through some of this stuff that maybe was imprinted on me, but isn't who I am, so that we can become the best version of ourselves and we can manifest that fuck yeah life.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? Whether you're manifesting money, a relationship, healthy body image, good health in general, right? Whatever it is that you're manifesting into your life, you have to understand that it's going to be a journey inward. It's a journey inward because you have to understand who you are, what you want, what your purpose is with all of it, right? Now, if you desire more money, that's awesome. It's a beautiful desire. But like you said, if there's a misalignment because you've got an old narrative, running your subconscious mind that tells you money is bad, money is dirty, right? Money is for people that are greedy, right? These are a lot of narratives that many of us have heard, grown up with, right? Or maybe you have a really scarce mindset, as in, I can't spend money on everything. I have to save every little penny and I can never invest in anything, right? Maybe that's the mindset. But you have to really uncover, like, what's that about? And sometimes we have to do some deep inner child healing. Sometimes we just have to peel back a couple layers. Sometimes we have to just acknowledge, just the acknowledgement that, oh shit, I have this old narrative running in my mind, but you know what? I'm done with that narrative. Doesn't really matter how it got there, why it got there. That's not really relevant at this point. I'm just done with it. I'm done with that narrative. I'm going to write a new one. I'm going to write a narrative that supports that money flows to me with ease. I'm going to write a new narrative that says I am worthy because I am. I'm going to write a new narrative that says I am successful in all parts of my life, including my business, because I am aligned with who I am. And that's going to open up that channel so that you can not only receive the success, but you can embody it. And therefore you can continue to call it into your life, because you are now going to continue to take actions, right? Without even thinking about it. It becomes part of your new narrative, becomes part of your new subconscious. So, back to your example, Christina, about meditation, and taking that 20 minutes for yourself every day and having to, realign yourself with, I'm not going to feel guilty about this. This is for me. This is teaching a better example to my daughter so that she sees that mommy takes care of herself, her needs, right? This is a beautiful lesson that you're sharing with her, you're offering to her. And sometimes we just have to, rewrite that story, rewrite that narrative. But taking that time for yourself, it's not only helping your mental well-being, your mental wellness for yourself, it also helps your physical health. It also helps your money mindset. It also helps your relationship with your husband. It also helps your relationship with your daughter, with your friends, all the way down the line. So these little actions that we take are tremendous in how we show up in our fuck yes life. So that's what I'm talking about when I say, even on the most mundane day, you wake up saying, I know that today I am doing X, Y, and Z for me that makes me feel fulfilled, joyful, purposeful, and everything else is going to fall into place.
Yes. And you said something really interesting about rewriting, right? Rewriting your story. I've always looked at life in chapters. Okay. These are just chapters of your life, and they can be big, they can be small, they can be long, they can be short, they can be crazy, they can be anything that you want them to be. And, I'm going to give the example of when we decided that we were going to come to Cabo. We're living in Canada. All of our family is around us. We've got a great support system. And some things were just not in alignment with who we are as a couple and who we are as a family. And so we made a really difficult decision to leave. Now, some people won't make that decision because they're scared. What if? Nothing is forever. You can move back. You can do whatever you want. There's all these different options. And that's what the beauty thing about life is, that you have all of this array of, it's like a blueprint, and a blueprint of your life has been placed, and there's a million different blueprints, and you decide which direction it goes. It's like choose your own adventure. And that's why I like comparing it to a storybook.
Yeah.
But having different chapters in your life and realizing that taking one move one way isn't the end, right? That this vision that we're talking about, how you manifest your life and how you manifest alignment, is tiny little habits and decisions every single day that evolve into what you're creating, because you are creating your reality right now. What you have, what you live right now, is a creation of your decisions and your habits. And that's it.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
And so go ahead.
And we can read, I was just going to say, and we get to redo it, right? We get to decide at any moment. We get to choose at any moment, right? And like you said, nothing is set in stone. I always like to remind people that we can easily go into what if and the worst case scenario, right? Mm-hmm. But it's more fun if you just say, what if it all works out?
Yeah. What if you, like, this has been one of the best experiences we've ever had. And I just feel so grateful that we have the ability to pick up and move and start a different chapter and be able to experience life as a family this way. But you don't have to make grandiose moves. You don't have to do things as maybe you were brought up, right? There's always an option, and there's always a little shift. And one of the things that I always teach people is, to reevaluate your life. And, people that are good, they set goals, once or twice a year. People that are great, they review monthly. People that are excellent, they review weekly. And people that are absolutely legendary review their life daily, and they think, what do I need to stop doing today that isn't serving me? What do I need to start doing that I'm not doing that I know I need to do? And what do I need to continue doing to get the result that I want?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's evolving your life in that way, and the little steps along the way. So Hallie, I'd love to talk to you forever, but I know that our time is limited. Would you just leave me with a little piece, a little nugget of one of the things that you really want to hammer home to those that are looking to live a fuck yeah life? Like how, most people are so concerned about the judgment and criticism of others. Mm-hmm. What piece of advice can you give people that they can step into this life and wholeheartedly embrace it without worrying or fearing what other people think?
Okay. This is literally, this is like such a good follow-up to everything that you were just saying. And this is something that I feel extremely passionate about. Back to that time when my husband asked me, in the car, what are you passionate about? Here's an answer. I am passionate about teaching you how to step away from thinking that you have to constantly be doing to feel that you are being your most authentic self. And so I would invite everybody listening to really ask yourself the question, how can I be more me every single day? And being is not doing. Being is embodying your energy. Being is your essence. Being is that alignment, that feeling of, oh, this is me. And so my nugget for you is to be your best you every single day, whatever that looks like, whoever she is, without judgment, with an open heart, with endless curiosity, and just allow yourself to be, because you are magnificent as you are now in this moment and as you continue to evolve.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Hallie, for being here today. I really appreciate you. And I thank you for contributing so much to the listeners today, because I know that they'll have a lot to take away. And hopefully this is something that allows them to step into their authenticity and start living the life that they really feel good about. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. And I'm just grateful for everybody listening. Thank you for being open to this conversation.
Appreciate you. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
If you think this video can help a friend, make sure you share it.